A deadly virus was hiding inside that woman's body, a virus that spread through physical relationships. But the overweight guy had absolutely no idea. Just 30 minutes later, he suddenly felt his body burning up, and an intense weakness took over him. When he checked his temperature with a thermometer, he was completely shocked. His fever had reached 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Before he could even process what was happening, something even more terrifying began. His body started twitching uncontrollably. His swollen fingers slowly became longer, while every part of his body rapidly started shrinking. Within moments, he was completely trapped inside a cocoon made of flesh. Then, when he ripped his way out of the cocoon, his entire appearance had changed. The overweight, awkward-looking guy was now incredibly handsome with a perfect body. Seeing himself in the mirror brought a strange smile to his face. But what he didn't know was that this magical transformation would only last for 1 year. Once that year ended, his body would explode like a bomb. Proof of that was the model walking down the runway. Suddenly, her body started overheating and her throat became painfully dry. Her thirst became so unbearable that she couldn't control herself anymore. Desperate for water, she ran out of the building. Then she stole a man's motorcycle and sped away. She rode through the streets like a maniac, and obviously, reckless driving like that could only end one way, with an accident. She crashed hard, and her knee was ripped open so badly that the bone was visible. But the terrifying part was, she didn't feel any pain at all. She got back up and limped into a nearby restaurant. Her eyes locked directly onto the bottles of water on the counter. She started drinking them like a madwoman. But no matter how much she drank, her thirst wouldn't go away. Panicking, she ran into the restroom and started splashing toilet water onto her face, trying to cool down the unbearable burning sensation inside her body. It felt like she was about to explode at any second. By the time she walked outside the restaurant, the entire area had already been surrounded by armed forces. Then something horrifying happened. Blood tears started pouring from her eyes, and in the very next moment, her entire body exploded in a massive blast. Detective Paul was investigating this case. While going through the files, he discovered that this wasn't the first incident. There had already been 7 similar cases before this. In every single case, the pattern was identical. First, the victim experienced extreme thirst, then they drank a massive amount of water, and finally their bodies exploded. The strangest part was that all of them had looked completely ordinary or even unattractive a year before their deaths. But at the time of death, they had become extremely beautiful. Detective Paul suspected that they might have taken some kind of drug, something even more dangerous than the Ebola virus. Meanwhile, the same kind of story was unfolding in the life of our hero, Jeremy. He was an unemployed guy who spent all day sitting at home. Because he was overweight and unattractive, no girl ever paid attention to him. After a lot of effort, he managed to impress a girl online. But the moment she saw his overweight body during a video call, she immediately hung up. That moment completely shattered Jeremy. He fell into deep depression. And then, one day, he received an email from an unknown sender. The email claimed that it was possible to lose weight overnight and get the body of your dreams without any pain or struggle. Jeremy didn't want to miss this chance to change his life. The very next day, he went to the address mentioned in the email. It turned out to be a secluded plastic surgery clinic. There, he met a strange and frightening-looking man. The man confidently told him that Jeremy's problem was nothing serious. Just one surgery would completely transform his body and face. Tempted by the idea of having a supermodel-like body, Jeremy agreed without thinking twice. Within a few weeks, changes started to appear. He became much thinner than before. Although it wasn't exactly what he had imagined, girls had started noticing him and even smiling at him. Soon after, a very beautiful girl approached him on her own and invited him to a dance party. Jeremy had never been this happy in his life. He immediately agreed. Under flashing lights and loud music, they danced for a long time. For the first time, Jeremy felt what it was like to be handsome. But as soon as the party ended, the waiter brought the bill. Jeremy said he had already paid his share, but the waiter informed him that the girls had an enormous bill still unpaid. That's when Jeremy realized the truth. The girls didn't see him as a handsome guy. They saw him as a foolish ATM machine. Blinded by betrayal and rage, Jeremy lost control. The next day, he went to the cosmetic clinic carrying a gun. Without saying a word, he shot the nurse at the reception and stormed into the boss's office. He was about to kill the boss as well, when the man suddenly shouted at him to stop. The boss calmed him down and said, "I have another solution, something faster and more effective than surgery." Calmed by the boss's convincing words, Jeremy decided to give him one last chance. They went together to the most expensive room in a luxury hotel in the city. As soon as they entered, the boss told Jeremy to take off his clothes and wait on the bed. A few moments later, the door opened and a woman walked in. She was completely covered in a heavy jacket from head to toe. The moment she removed the jacket, Jeremy's eyes widened in shock at her perfect body. Slowly, she began walking toward him. And that was the beginning of the terrifying event we saw at the start of the story.